Welcome to This is America in VOA Special English. I'm Barbara Klein.
And I'm Christopher Cruz. This week, we visit the Minnesota State Fair for its giant sing-along. We also learn about a program that helps young people get involved with nature. And later, we hear about a Pakistani woman who is one of the top chefs in New York City.
The northern state of Minnesota is home to one of the nation's largest and oldest state fairs. It has farm animals, homemade foods, carnival rides, and for the second summer, a giant sing-along.
Children ride around and around on a merry-go-round. Farmers demonstrate equipment, including old tractors. And in an educational building called the Miracle of Birth, crowds can see baby chicks, big-eared newborn pigs, and even newborn lambs learning how to walk. It is all part of the tradition at the Minnesota State Fair.
A new addition to the fair is the giant sing-along, where nearly 100 people gathered recently to sing together. High school student Rachel Fadina and her friends performed the Michael Jackson song, Thriller.
I like that you can just sing however you want and just mess around with your friends or whatever, and it's just fun.
Rachel and her friends like the sing-along, but would any of them like to sing on their own?
Nope. No. No.
We are listening to newlyweds Kelsey and Sam Lipa singing Brown-Eyed Girl.
Fun for a whole group to do, and you just jump in and go whenever you see a song that you like.
But while they just performed at the giant sing-along, will they sing for VOA?
The showerhead's usually my biggest audience.
Many people are nervous about singing in public. So when the sing-along became part of the Minnesota State Fair last year, the fair's deputy general manager, Renee Pearson, says she was afraid no one would step forward.
You know, in Minnesota, we refer to Minnesota Nice, where people aren't always willing to put themselves out there and do something that maybe is out of their comfort zone. And we were a little concerned at first whether or not Minnesotans would actually engage and actually participate.
But the event has been a huge success. Melissa Mongiat is part of Daily Tous les Jours, the Canadian team responsible for the great sing-along.
We thrive for collective experiences, right? Have people come together, be more aware of each other, aware of what they can do together. Sing-along is many people singing together. It's like the crowd is singing, and it's more about the magic of singing together, the power of it.
To persuade people to sing in public, the magic has to be powerful for many Minnesotans, including Dick Nelson. He once performed as part of a group, but will he perform solo?
No, I haven't sung for a while, and my voice isn't what it used to be.
Yet Mr. Nelson and his wife Ann were performing at the giant sing-along. Ann says that is because singing with someone is more fun than singing alone.
Everybody feels free to get up there and just belt it out. There's guys up there dancing, and It's like it doesn't matter. Just get up there and sing.
As a large screen shows words for the next song, the Nelsons return to the microphones. The success of this giant sing-along has led other states to ask Melissa Mongiat's team about designing similar events for them.
Students around the United States have been learning about nature in a program organized by the group The Nature Conservancy. Some young people from Los Angeles spent time on an island off the California coast. Santa Cruz Island may be a short distance from home, but it is a world away from the city. A little more than an hour off the coast by a boat, Santa Cruz is a nature preserve. Farmers brought their cattle here in the 19th and 20th century. But today, 7 teenage girls are helping to bring wetlands back to the island.
2, 3. Is this a winner?
At 25 hectares, Santa Cruz Island is the largest of the Channel Island group. It was once home to Native Americans and ranchers. Student coordinator Irene Bailey says people brought invasive species and changed the island's ecosystem.
So we're trying to get the invasives, removed from here and then plant in native grasses and other native vegetation that will be good for the plant community and the birds and stuff that are coming in.
The students come from the Environmental Charter High School near Los Angeles. They are taking part in a program called LEAF, Leaders in Environmental Action for the Future. The program is operated by the Nature Conservancy, which owns most of the island. Student Kira Adams says she and the girls are learning about natural diversity.
Like sometimes you'll drive through a path and it feels like the Amazon, and then it'll feel like the desert, and then it'll feel like the tropical rainforest, or then it'll feel like just like a natural forest. So it's very interesting going through this island and feeling different types of environments.
Student Glenda Sanchez says some of the girls are getting excited about careers in environmental work.
I think our generation, where we're learning more about the environment, is crucial because now we learned about it and we know what are the problems, so now we need to find a solution for them.
Few women are among the top-rated chefs in New York City. It is even harder for women who are not United States citizens. But one young Pakistani woman has broken this barrier. Fatima Ali is the sous, or assistant chef, at the famous Cafe Centro Midtown Manhattan. She is also one of the very few Pakistani women to graduate from America's top culinary institute, the Culinary Institute of Arts. But what makes her even rarer is that she may be the only non-American female chef in any of 70 top New York restaurants.
Fatima Ali grew up in Pakistan. She says there is so much for her to take back to her home country.
There are so many things that I have been exposed to in the U.S. that I may not have been exposed to in Pakistan, like the plethora of ingredients that are available here.
In July, Ms. Ali competed with other chefs on the Food Network TV show Chopped. Her mix of Pakistani spices and Western cooking won her the top prize of $10,000.
She has great potential, and I give her another 2 to 3 years, and she definitely will be a master chef.
Jan Hoffman is the executive chef at Cafe Centro.
But Fatima Ali is not just thinking about her career in New York. She wants to make a difference through her cooking. She was first influenced by poor children at her mother's charity organization.
I think I was 12 or 13 when I set up my first food stall at one of my mother's festivals to raise money for these kids. Just the fact that I had made even a small amount of difference cooking for somebody, I think that's what just sealed the deal for me.
Ms. Ali hopes to return to Pakistan and set up subsidized kitchens where poor families can enjoy low-cost organic meals and where young people can learn cooking and other job skills.
Our program was produced by Brianna Blake, with reporting by Shelley Schlender, Mike O'Sullivan, and Azar Fateh. I'm Christopher Cruz.
And I'm Barbara Klein. Join us again next week for This is America in VOA Special English.
Now, here's a sample of what you can find in the classroom section of the VOA Learning English website.
Free speech. The right to peaceful assembly. And freedom of the press. These are the freedoms that Americans enjoy. And it's guaranteed by the United States Constitution. If you live in America, you have the right to say what you want to say, when you want to say it, and to whoever you want to say it, as long as it's done in a peaceful manner. Students can go into the streets and protest high costs or lack of jobs. Workers can hold a peaceful assembly against low pay, high taxes, or bad working conditions. People can even hold peaceful protests against the President of the United States. Anybody can publicly express their political views or complaints peacefully in America without the fear of being punished. A well-known example of free speech took place in 1963 when 250,000 people gathered in Washington, D.C. to speak for equal rights for all Americans. Another famous example was the protests against the Vietnam War in the 1960s and 1970s, all across the United States. Free speech also helps Americans to stay informed about their political leaders. Americans freely post on YouTube and Facebook, publishing their views on the American presidential candidates. This helps Americans make their decision on Election Day. Free speech also plays a key role in social change. For the past 20 years, Aung San Suu Kyi, Burma's opposition leader, who recently visited the United States, has publicly campaigned for reform of her country's constitution and protection of people's rights and freedoms. Parts of her speeches are often censored by the Burmese government. The United States does not censor any media. Following the example of democratic countries and speaking against government corruption and military rule, Mrs. Suu Kyi has shown the importance and power of free speech in non-democratic countries, hoping her message will have an impact in her own country as well as around the world.